What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star Rail guide. Today I'm here with the full in-game guide for Fugue. This video is going to be taking you over her kit and Eidolons, then taking you over her best lightcones, then best relics and ornaments, and then the stat recommendations for the main stats and substats. That's all I want to say before I get into the video. If you guys could drop a like on this video if you find it helpful in any way, shape, or form, it would be greatly appreciated. If you're new or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content. Be sure to check the description below to join the Discord and also check out my second channel, and let's get straight into the video. So Fugue is a fire character following the path of nihility. Her basic attack deals fire damage equal to 100% of Fugue's attack to one designated enemy. Her skill grants one designated ally Phoxian Prayer, enters the Torrid Scorched state lasting for 3 turns, and the duration reduces by 1 at the start of Fugue's every turn. Phoxian Prayer only takes effect on the most recent target of Fugue's skill. The ally with Phoxian Prayer increases their break effect by 30% and can also reduce toughness even when attacking enemies that don't have the corresponding weakness type, with the effect equivalent to 50% of the original toughness reduction value. This effect cannot stack with other toughness reduction effects that also ignore weakness type. While in Torrid Scorch, Fugue enhances her basic attack. Every time an ally target with Phoxian Prayer attacks, Fugue has a 100% base chance to reduce the attacked enemy's defense by 18% for 2 turns. And as we see, she does enhance her basic attack, and it now deals fire damage equal to 100% of Fugue's attack to one designated enemy, and fire damage equal to 50% of Fugue's attack to adjacent targets. Her ultimate deals fire damage equal to 200% of Fugue's attack to all enemies. This attack ignores weakness type to reduce all enemies' toughness, and when breaking weakness, triggers a fire weakness break effect. The talent: while Fugue is on the field, enemy targets will get additionally afflicted with Cloud Flame Luster, equal to 40% of their maximum toughness. When initial toughness is reduced to 0, Cloud Flame Luster can continue to be reduced. When Cloud Flame Luster is reduced to 0, the enemy will receive weakness break damage again. While Fugue is on the field, and after allies attack weakness broken enemy targets, converts the toughness reduction of this attack to 1 instance of 100% super break damage. The technique: after using technique, inflicts daze on enemy targets within a certain area, lasting for 10 seconds. While dazed, enemies will not actively attack ally targets. After entering battle via attacking dazed enemies, Fugue's action advances by 40% with 100% base chance to inflict each enemy target with the same defense reduction state applied by Fugue's skill, lasting for 2 turns. For her bonus traces, her A2, after ally targets break weakness, additionally delays the action of the enemy target by 15%. Her A4 increases this unit's break effect by 30%. After using the skill for the first time, immediately recovers 1 skill point. And our A6, when an enemy target's weakness gets broken, increases teammates, i.e. excluding this unit, break effect by 6%. If Fugue's break effect is 220% or higher, the break effect increase is boosted by an additional 12%, lasting for 2 turns and stacks up to 2 times. Taking a look at her Eidolons, her E1, ally target with Phoxian Prayer increases her weakness break efficiency by 50%. Her E2, when an enemy target's weakness gets broken, Fugue regenerates 3 energy, and after using ultimate, advances the action of all allies by 24%. Her E4, ally targets with Phoxian Prayer increases their break damage dealt by 20%. And her E6 increases Fugue's weakness break efficiency by 50%. While Fugue is in the Torrid Scorched state, Phoxian Prayer takes effect on all allies. So as we do see, Fugue herself is a super break enabler at heart, while being able to buff the character you do choose, increasing their break effect, and also being able to help allies deal more damage to enemies as their defense can be reduced by 18% thanks to this effect of her skill. And on top of that, will allow you to re-break enemies thanks to the Cloud Flame Luster, which is effectively exo toughness that we did have not too long ago. Moving on to the best lightcones for Fugue, her best one is going to be her own signature lightcone, which does provide you with a 60% increase to break effect, so a fantastic stat stick right out the gate. And when an enemy target's weakness gets broken, you have a 100% base chance to inflict charring state on it, which will increase break damage taken by 18% for 2 turns, stacking up to 2 times, so giving you up to a 36% increase to break damage taken to that enemy you do inflict charring with. So this lightcone giving you 60% break effect is going to be extremely big, since she does already have ways to get to it pretty easily without it, and there's already another option you can use from some other stat sticks, but 60% is going to be the highest amount you can get compared to any other lightcone, especially as a nihility character. And so this is going to help you drastically with that requirement, and as she's mainly used with break characters, so Rappa, Boothill, and also Firefly, and such like break Himiko, the break damage taken is very much welcome, as that's going to be a fantastic scaling thing for your break dealing DPSs. So giving up to 36% at that is going to be extremely powerful, and overall making her signature the best option, as obviously it is her signature lightcone. Another good option you can do is the free-to-play Her to Shop lightcone, which gives you a 20% increase to break effect, and when you use his ultimate, you increase dot dealt by the wearer by 24% for 2 turns. And when the target enemy is suffering from a dot imposed by the wearer is defeated, you regenerate 4 energy, and at S5, it's a 40% increase to break effect. You have a 48% increase to dot dealt when you do use your ultimate, and you will now gain 6 energy for defeating someone that does have a dot imposed by the wearer. So a nice little 40% increase to break effect, so that's going to be nice. It does fall behind the signature lightcone, but 40% is still really really good. You do increase the dot you can potentially deal by breaking enemies with Fugue herself, so the damage there can be increased and do some pretty nice damage. And on top of that, you can gain more energy, which is going to be really nice to get more ults and then constantly deal more damage, which will effectively help you lower toughness even faster, and overall making this a great option as well. Another fantastic option is the Pearls Lightcone, which when you do hit an enemy, and if a hit enemy is not already ensnared, you have a 60% base chance to ensnare that hit enemy, and ensnared enemies will have a 12% defense decrease for one turn. At S5, you have a 100% base chance with a 16% decrease to defense. So regardless of the team you are taking her on, this is going to benefit anyone. So if you're doing stuff with Acheron, you can definitely benefit from this, since defense lower on them will make them take increased damage, so that's going to be great. For break characters, this is also fantastic, because defense shred and defense ignore are fantastic for break characters, and overall, just a fantastic option. The only downside is you don't get a break effect increase, so you're not going to be able to get a really big stick, so getting to the requirements will be a bit difficult as you're not getting anything, but still going to be a fantastic option you can use if you're able to hit the requirements elsewhere. Another option you can use is the Fermented Lightcone, which gives you a 16% increase to break effect. And the last part is useless. You increase damage to enemies afflicted with shock or wind shear by 16% and also applies a dot. That's not really going to be a thing you have on your teams. Can change team for team, but for the most teams and most optimal times you do use her, you're not going to have that effect. It's mainly for it being at S5, it being a 32% increase to break effect. It's practically just a small stat stick you can get. Since unfortunately when it comes to break effect increasing, you don't have the greatest amount of options, but this is a usable option as it does give you a pretty decent amount. So if you don't have any of the other options, you can use this as a stat stick. Another option you can use is the Before the Tutorial Mission Starts Lightcone, which increases the word's effect rate by 20%, and when you attack defense reduced enemies, you will regenerate 4 energy, which you can do since she herself is able to provide a defense reduction thanks to her whole base kit. And at S5, you get 40% effect hit rate, and the energy you gain is 8. So once again, the energy is going to be nice for having more ult. I already talked about it. You can get more ult uptime, which is going to result in more damage, more toughness lowering, and 40% effect hit rate is going to be really nice since you still will want effect hit rate on your relics somewhat, so you can actually guarantee to always apply the defense lower on her skill. So the effect hit rate here is very nice, and overall making this a fantastic free to play option as well. Taking a look at the best relic sets for Fugue, so this one definitely is something that does depend on you who is the player. First, it obviously depends on what you do have, and it also depends if you mainly wanted to focus on getting the role done of her, which is mainly being the super break enabler and also buffing your ally, and also just getting turns to attack as much and just have her role just be done, or if you want to aim to get the best damage output for herself. And if you want the best damage output, the best one you can do is the 4-piece Iron Cavalry, which the 2-piece gives you a 16% increase in break effect. And the 4-piece, if you do have 150% or higher break effect, you get a 10% defense ignore when dealing break damage to that enemy. And if you have 250% or higher break effect, the super break damage dealt to that enemy target will additionally ignore 50% of their defense. Defense ignore is one of the other best sources for break characters to mainly deal more damage, and this 4-piece provides exactly that, which is going to be the best damage output for Fugue herself. So if you want to primarily focus on her doing the most damage as she can, then the 4-piece is definitely going to be your way to go. But if you mainly want to focus on the other side of her just performing her role well, then you can take 2-piece of one of the break sets and combining it with 2-piece of one of the speed sets, so that also being Hackerspace and also being the Relieved Ordeal set, which both the 2 pieces will increase speed by 6%. So you are still getting the 16% benefit from the break effect on one of the break effect sets. So once again, that could be the Iron Cavalry set 2-piece, could be 2-piece of the Watchmaker set, could be also 2-piece of the Thief set. And then combining that with either the Hackerspace or Relieved Ordeal with the 6% speed can help you get up to the 160 speed that most likely your Fugue will be wanting. Overall, the best Fugue builds is going to be having 160 or higher speed, so this is definitely going to be helping you with that. Although if you are able to hit 160 speed with just the Iron Cavalry set alone, then obviously that's going to beat out running 2-piece and 2-piece with that, since the speed is going to be useless since you already have enough with the Iron Cavalry itself. Then in that case, it would just be better for you to run Iron Cavalry, or you could also opt for doing 4-piece Thief, which also gives you the 2-piece 16% increase to break effect, and the 4-piece gives you an additional 16% break effect, and when you do inflict weakness break on an enemy, you will regenerate 3 energy. So this is going to be nice, helping you get your ult back faster and helping you ult a little more, which will overall help you reduce the toughness of enemies even faster, which is why the 4-piece on this is really nice, and overall you're getting the same 2-piece as you would get as doing 2-piece break, which would be the next option you would have, which would be combining 2-piece break and 2-piece break. The 4-piece of Thief is better since you get that extra energy on top of that when weakness breaking enemies, but you could still opt to do 2-piece break, 2-piece break if you have better pieces for that, or if that's your only option. So once again, 4-piece Iron Cavalry is definitely the one you want for max damage. And if you want to hit the 160 speed, which most likely you will definitely want to do, you can just combine 2 pieces of one of the break sets and then also combine 2 pieces of one of the speed sets, as the 6% speed will help you there. You can also opt for 4 pieces of the thief set for the extra energy you can get, plus also getting up to 32% break effect, helping you with requirements even more. And then if not that, you can just do 2 pieces of 2 of the different break sets for a total of 32% break effect. For the Planar Ornaments, the best one overall you can do is going to be the Forge set, and this is going to be best if you are running her with Firefly, or if the enemies in the battle are just innate weak to fire. So be sure to watch out for that, since if they are weak to fire, this is going to be significantly better, as it does give you a 6% increase to speed, and when you do hit someone that has a fire weakness, you get a 40% increase to break effect for 1 turn. So the speed is extremely nice to have, especially on this ornament, but that's not mainly the part where you're also getting up to 40% break effect, which is going to be better than the second option I'm about to recommend. The only issue is this set is mainly locked behind running her with Firefly, which a lot of people will do, so this won't be a problem for a lot of people. But in cases where you are running her with Rappa and Boot Hill, which will also be very common, if the enemies are not weak to fire, you're not going to be able to implant it with anyone, which is going to make it a problem. And you don't want to run the ornament just for the 6% speed, and in which case, if you are not running her with Firefly or the enemies don't have fire weakness, you will be taking Talia instead, as Talia gives you a 16% increase to break effect, and when you do have 145 speed or higher, which on Fugue you definitely want, you get an additional 20% break effect, giving you up to 36% increase to break effect. This is just short of the Forge set, which is only 4% less, and you also don't get the extra speed, unfortunately. But this one is practically unrestricted unless you don't have 145 speed, which again on Fugue you're going to be getting around 160, so for the most part this will be relatively unconditional on a proper build Fugue, and will be the more universal option you can opt to do. Now unfortunately, these are the 2 real only options you can actually do. The other options would be to opt to run one of the support sets for your main hyper carry, which is definitely going to be a lot weaker. So if you're doing some funny shenanigan team where you're not really running on break, and since break characters can't use crit, in that case you could opt to use Broken Keel, which gives 10% effect res, and when you do have 30% or higher effect res, you give everyone 10% crit damage. Once again, on characters like Firefly and Rappa, this is completely useless, and that's why I don't really recommend this, because for the most part you'll be using Fugue on those break characters teams. With Boot Hill, it's not completely useless, but it's still something you really don't want to do. But on other times where you might take her on something like a shenanigans with Acheron, can also work with Hybrid Himiko. In those cases, Broken Keel can be an option. Same thing when it does come to Ageless, which Ageless with Firefly specifically is more usable, as it gives you 12% HP for more survivability, and when you do have 120 speed or higher, you give everyone 8% attack. Since Firefly is able to convert the attack percent to getting more break effect, it can allow you to get less attack and focus more on other stats under Firefly, so the 8% attack here can help, and that also would apply to running Lushaka as well, which gives you 5% of an energy regeneration rate increase, which is going to be nice for all uptime. And if you're not positioned first on the team lineup, you will increase the character that is first on the team lineup's attack by 12%, which once again, these ornaments will mainly apply to DPS that are not really break, or they are Firefly, since again the attack on Firefly can be converted to break effect, so it can work there. But overall, I definitely would opt to just run the Forge set with Firefly, or on a fire weak battle, or just opting to run the Talia set, as it is more universal. Those 2 sets are going to be significantly better. Or the main stats on the relics. For the body, you want to have effect hit rate. Don't make the mistake of doing anything, since it would seem like anything would work, which would be the case, but you do want to have some effect hit rate, as her skill and the debuff will want some effect hit rate to apply the defense reduction, so running effect hit rate is going to be the best option you can do. For the feat, you want to have speed. For the orb, you can do anything. Whatever has the best break and speed substats is going to be your go-to, so it could be HP, it could be defense, it could be fire, it could be attack, just whatever has the best substats. And for the link rope, it does depend. If you are able to hit the break effect requirements, which is going to be roughly around getting to up to 220 in battle, if you're able to get 220% effect, if you're able to get 220% break effect in battle, and you are not using Iron Cavalry, then that's going to be completely fine. And if you're able to get to 250% in battle, if you are using the Iron Cavalry set, then that's going to be great, and in that case, you'd want to run energy regeneration rate. But if you are not able to run those thresholds, then you want to run the break effect rope. Or if you are also running E2 Fugue, the action advance on the E2 is going to be extremely valuable, so you definitely want to opt for running energy regeneration rate on that case. For these substats, you want to first focus on getting as much as possible speed. Getting up to 160 is going to be your ideal bet. Getting even higher than that is great, but you practically just want to focus on getting up to 160, and then anything past that will be nice, but you don't want to focus on it past that. And then past that would be more break effect. Once again, as I said, you want to get 220% in battle, which in battle you will also get the extra 30%, as one of her bonus traces does provide that, so you get 250%. So if you're running Iron Cavalry, you just need 220% to satisfy the requirement. So be sure not to neglect your speed speed stat for break effect and try to get up there. You don't want to have a slow 134 speed Fugue. You definitely want to get in the higher percentages of speed, so around 160. Since for break effect, it's relatively achievable to get around 220, and you can also satisfy Iron Cavalry in that way. And anything past that would practically be more effect hit rate can help with the base chance of the skill. So some effect hit rate rolls won't be completely wasted, but anything past that is just survivability stats. So once again, first you want to focus on speed, get as much as possible to at least hit 160, and then once you do at least get 160, you'd want to focus on getting the break effect to at least hit 220% in battle. So once again, you want to account for other buffs that you may have, such as Ruan Mei buff, running someone else that has Watchmaker, and so on. Past that, some more effect hit rate can help, and then anything past that would just be some survivability stats. Now for the team building / team ideas section of this video. Overall, your best teams are going to be running your break teams, which is overall going to consist of having Fugue yourself, and will also have your Ruan Mei, and then on top of that, we'll also have Lingsha or Gallagher. And this is practically the same team you'd have, but instead of Harmony Trailblazer, it is now Fugue, and the last slot would be your break DPS. So if you have Rappa, you'd put Rappa there. If you have Firefly, you have Firefly there. In my case, it would be Boot Hill, so you could also put your Boot Hill here. If you're running a full break Himiko, you can put Himiko here as well. So just having Himiko just being right here as well. If you wanted to do the funny Acheron stuff where you practically cosplay having a E2 S1 Aventurine, it would practically be something like Acheron. You'd have your Nihility character. If you are E0, pretending if you are there, then you'd run your Aventurine, and then your last one would be Fugue as she is Nihility, so you have the requirement there. And if you have E2, you would practically kind of offset your Jiaoqiu here, which kind of sucks, but you'd put someone like Sunday, one of an action forwards of Bronya, etc, etc. So funny stuff you can do there. It's pretty flexible, but she's mainly focused on the break team, so you'd once again practically just run her. Then you would have your Lingsha or Gallagher, and you'd also have your Ruan Mei. If I could find her again, I lost her. There she is. And then your last slot would indeed be your break DPS, and this is practically the best you can do. And then the break DPS, you can also do some funny stuff where you can run Sustainless. So Sustainless Boot Hill is one of my favorites right now, so you can have Boot Hill, Fugue, Ruan Mei, and then the last slot would be Sunday, as I am a fan of the advancing forward character with Boot Hill. I prefer that over Harmony Trailblazer, but now this team is possible. We're just significantly better than both, so you can also do something like this. Or if you're practically doing Super Break anything else, once again, you would just have the sustain, so Gallagher, Lingsha, or whatever option you do have, and this would be your main Super Break DPS if you're doing some funny stuff, such as like Super Break Blade, Super Break stuff. With the Super Break Enabler, you have a lot of options, but it's really flexible in what you want to do. But overall, mainly running a team like this with your break DPS in the middle. So instead of Boot Hill, Firefly, Rappa, those are your best teams you can do, and the rest are kind of flexible and will not be as good, but the break teams like this will be the best. And that is the full in-game guide for Fugue, going over her kit, going over her best Lightcone options, then going over her best Relic sets and Planar ornaments, then talking about the stats you do want on them, followed by that some team ideas for you to run. Once again, hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, be sure to drop a like, as it will be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content. That's all I wanted to say. Peace out.